From first hunts to lifelong traditions, we're here to honor the heritage, hear the passion, and connect through the stories that make us all hunters. Grab your gear, find your stand, and listen in as we share another journey that shapes a hunter's legacy. This episode is brought to you by Logic Hunt, an app designed for the future of hunting, helping you prepare with purpose and pursue with precision. Well, we got Georgia from Missouri. Were you born in Georgia, or your parents just like the name?
No, it's a family name.
Is it?
Yeah.
What part of Missouri are you from?
We're in Warsaw. It's kind of where my family's farmed and been at forever. It's right in between Kansas City and Springfield, so kind of in the middle of nowhere.
That's probably a good thing. You don't have much of a southern draw. You must not be that far south.
No, it depends on the day. Sometimes I feel like my accent gets a little bit heavier, but it's definitely nothing like the people actually from the South.
It just kind of depends how much you drink.
Yeah, I mean that tends to matter.
I know a little bit about what you have going on the side, but why don't you fill our listeners in?
I have been in the accounting finance industry for 7 years now. I actually went to college and got my bachelor's degree in finance. I started traveling a lot, and remote jobs ever since COVID kind of became more of a thing. Trying to find a job doing accounting and remote stuff has been difficult, and I know a lot of people that have their own small businesses and stuff, so I took the leap of faith and I started my own business. I got a LLC and insurance last weekend, strategic remote services. And I just know a lot of people that have their own businesses that struggle keeping up with their books, and just kind of a way for me to help people out and help small businesses and do that stuff remote, and kind of opens up the door to let me travel more.
That's pretty cool. It's definitely a struggle starting a business. Yours is probably going to take off a little bit faster than mine. I think it'll be worth it for both of us.
It's a roller coaster, a scary roller coaster. You have those days and those weeks where everything seems like it's going right, and then there's those days that's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Why is this not working? It's a curve.
I think it's similar to growing social media, podcast. I think towards the end of year 2 or 3 is kind of where stuff really starts taking off. I think my hunting app I'm about, well, it hasn't even been on the market for a year, but I know what you're going through. So if you ever need to vent, just let me know, because it hasn't been that smooth.
I appreciate it.
You grew up in the middle of nowhere on a farm or just out in the country?
My whole family are farmers. My dad and my uncle were kind of the generation to break the farming. I actually grew up on Klink Avenue in Cole Camp. I think we moved and sold the family farm, I think when I was 6. So I have like a very mixed life. My parents moved up to the city so my dad could get a job paying a little bit better, because that kind of era of farming didn't really pay the bills. I went to school actually in a suburb outside of Kansas City, and we spent every weekend down here. Very mixed life, city-ish and middle of nowhere.
And is the whole family back a little bit further south now, or did you just kind of wander back?
Everyone's here except my brother. My brother actually lives up in the city, but I'm staying at my parents' house. I just moved all my stuff into the loft so I can go full-time on the road in their shop. Sitting in their house right now because we don't have Wi-Fi out there yet. And my papa is actually first here, so his house, I can look at it out the window and see everybody.
I'm sure you're probably ready to hit the road. You love your family. If you're like me, you got to take it in small strides. Enough is enough at some point.
It's good to be back. I'm excited. Gosh, I have a younger brother. I haven't seen him in it's been like a year. He doesn't come around. He's not much of a hunter, which is ironic because his name is Hunter. But he is a big fisherman. So we're all supposed to go run jugs this weekend. It's been raining a lot here in Missouri, so the lake is up a little bit. It should be some good catfishing. But after this weekend, I'm sure I'll be ready and excited to find a fishing or hunting adventure on the road, because I do enjoy being on the road a lot.
There you go. So a lot of fishing in the summer to keep yourself occupied.
Yeah, I tend to fish quite a bit.
What's your favorite kind of fishing?
I'm definitely more of a hunter than I am a fisherman. I enjoy fishing. Probably my favorite fishing is either crappie fishing, just on the dock or on the boat, or I have a kayak, and Bennett Springs, the Niagara River, is not very far from here. My grandma actually lives pretty close to there. So we'll take our kayaks out and spend 5 hours and trout fish off the kayaks quite a bit. That tends to be the two most amounts of fishing I do. My dad runs a lot of trout lines and stuff on the lake, but it's usually about fall, and my focus is shifted a lot more towards deer hunting by then.
I can see that. Definitely enjoy seeing some of your stuff. I used to be against some of the social media, and I still am in a sense, but just the people that like to brag, oh, I got this big deer. You're pretty genuine about just enjoying being outdoors, so I really enjoy it. I will kind of backhand you about, you show this all the states you've hunted, and
Yeah,
You're right under Iowa and you've never hunted Iowa.
I know. I've been real close. So I actually got permission. I have a really good friend I met at Rogers Sporting Goods. Gosh, has it been a year and a half? And his family has property right on the Iowa Missouri border. So been hunting up there a little bit this year, but I appreciate it. I try and be genuine because I definitely can agree sometimes trying to post and be part of the hunting world on social media can be really hard sometimes. And it's important to remember the purpose of hunting, why we do it, not just for the internet.
You're my first girl on the podcast. That's kind of why I pushed you to come on. But being a female hunter in social media, do you get any backlash or any of that stuff? Or you just feel like a part of the community compared to everybody else?
Yes and no to both. I've hunted my whole life. I think I was like, my dad would send me into Bass Pro and go buy this, and people are like, oh, is that really for you? It's definitely becoming more of a norm to be a female in the hunting industry, and that has its ups and downs too. There's always going to be that group of people. It's the internet that is like, you don't know what you're doing. You didn't do that on your own.
Did your dad set up that tree stand?
Yeah, yeah. You're only hunting with this person because you're a girl, and you get to do this stuff, and it's easier for you because you're a girl, which I absolutely hate that comment because it is so much harder, I think. Don't get me wrong, it's hard for everybody, but I think the thing I've envied the most is like I've just now got my niche of friends. It's primarily dudes. I know one or two or three that I'm closer with the females, but I've never had that group of people. They're like, oh, let's go do this. Oh, let's go duck hunt. Oh, let's go knock on this door. And I've tried really hard to be a part of that group, and I've started to find some really close friends, male and female, all over the state of Missouri, it seems like, to finally find that niche. But growing up until I was 21, I think, I hunted with my dad and my dad's friends because that was really the only group of people that accepted me, which is kind of hard. You learn a lot of stuff on your own, and there's definitely ups and downs of being a female in the industry.
I think that's a good thing about you being active on social media. It probably already has connected you with other female hunters.
Yes.
I'm interviewing a girl next week from Alaska.
Oh, that's fun.
Girls can hunt too, so we got to get girls on here.
Yes. I'll have to look her up.
So you got started hunting with your dad. Can you kind of fill us in how it all kind of got started?
So I am the oldest. My dad kind of was the first in my family to be absolutely buff wild about hunting. Like that is his niche. He loves it. That's his passion. We lived on the farm. I think there's pictures, maybe two or three out there with camo, just hanging out with dad. Like he shot a raccoon, he shot some squirrels, and there's pictures. And then in Missouri, 5 is when you can legally buy a turkey tag. Of course, we bought mine when I was 5, and I just kind of became my dad's little wingman. I mean, there was lots of trips where me and dad would go to deer camp and hunt every year, and really my dad introduced me to all of it and shared his passion, and it got to be our thing. And I was really lucky and blessed, and that's how my family eats, and we eat deer meat and fish all year round. We don't really eat beef at all. It's how we survived, and my dad put all of us in there, and everybody as many tags. I started bow hunting as soon as I could pull a bow back because we needed 9 deer to make it through the year, and doing it forever.
Do you think part of it was you were your dad's little shadow? You started off, I want to spend more time with dad. You got to spend time with him. Then obviously you learned loving the hunt too, while enjoying time with him.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have always been a daddy's girl, and I love spending time with my dad, and that was definitely the way to do it if you wanted to spend time with him. There's nothing that beats being in the woods when the woods wake up. There's something so peaceful and aliving about that. Every fall, we're out there. Every spring, that's just what we do, and I crave it. I don't care if I see a deer. Like, I'll go sit out there because it's my happy place, and it's where I feel the most connected. And
Better than seeing people first thing in the morning.
yes.
Is your dad still a pretty active hunter?
Yeah, he doesn't do it as much as he used to just because when they moved down here full time, they're insurance adjusters. So usually their busy season kind of interacts with deer season a little bit. But it's been really fun. The last 2 years, I started doing conservation draws in the state of Missouri and started hunting out of the state a little bit. And my dad's never done that. So I'm getting to the point where I'm getting to teach him things. Can you believe people do this? Like, this is you would never believe what I saw. And it's really fun because I'm kind of getting to share that experience back of stuff that he's never done or thought about because he had me young and had to tote my little tiny butt around everywhere.
I'm sure that's a lot of fun. I've interviewed not a lot of states, but Delaware, Florida, and it's different everywhere, so I'm excited. Where have you traveled for hunting?
2 years ago, I went to Minnesota to goose hunt. I think that was my first out of state experience. Then last turkey season, I got a Kansas tag and a Colorado tag for turkey. And I kind of dabbled with goose hunting in Kansas on and off. I knew an outfitter out there I was pretty good friends with at the time, and it was a 2 hour drive. I don't really know if Kansas counts as out of state when you're close to the side in Missouri. And then I went to Canada last year to shoot geese. That was a lot of fun. Definitely want to go back. Canada is beautiful. And then this last turkey season, I went to Nebraska and shot one with my bow. And then I hunted Mississippi, Alabama, and North Carolina. And I
Really?
think that's it. The South kicked my butt this year. Turkey season was hard for me, but it was a lot of fun. I got to see a lot of really pretty states and countryside.
So you said Georgia, North Carolina, and where?
Alabama, Mississippi, and North Carolina.
Alabama, Mississippi, North Carolina. What part of Alabama?
Literally right next to Mississippi. Alabama was not planned. Mississippi was. And then I kind of moved my work schedule around and just stayed out there because I knew I had to go to North Carolina. My cousin has been hunting. She's, I think, 6 years older than me. And she's never shot a bird. And she asked me last year, she's like, oh, please come. And my family's got some ground up there. And I was like, yeah, of course. I got a little confident after the year before having a really good turkey season. And I had to go up there and guide her, so Alabama was my in-between versus driving back to Missouri and then right back down to North Carolina.
That's pretty awesome that you killed one with a bow. I haven't been ballsy enough to try it, but that's pretty impressive.
In Missouri, it used to be when you would buy your archery tag, they would give you 2 turkey tags and 2 deer tags. It was my very first day going out bow hunting. I shot a turkey. My dad was all in for it. I think I was 14, 15. Totally watched this bird fly off with my arrow, and I was like, what the heck am I doing wrong? It's been an ongoing mission. I think 2 years ago, I had one come out during deer season, which fall turkey and spring turkey is way different. And I had the same thing happen. Thought I educated enough. It's just so hard to kill with a bow. I went to Nebraska and it gave me a run for my money. I had the best, worst day of turkey hunting in my life in Nebraska. Started the morning, found them. There was a flock. It was early season up there. I think it was still in March, the end of March, March 28th maybe. Found them, snuck down in there, got 5 yards in front of a tree. I was ready. Hear them gobbling. There's a group of jakes, 15 jakes to my left, about 30 yards. About 5 gobblers, 50 yards, gobbling and just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I had 4 or 5 gobblers come up on the right, 30 yards through the timber. There's nothing I can do, but I'm on a pathway in front of a tree, just hoping that they'll cross, and all the hens would cross, but the toms are just sitting there drumming, beating each other up. So I got to watch them and draw back. I think I drew back twice and had to hold it, which was scary, watching turkeys that can obviously see you at 30 yards waiting. Eventually, they kind of moved on. I think that was a 30-minute ordeal of just nonstop gobbling, drawing back my bow, waiting, trying not to get caught. Ended up backing up a huge ravine, going up, cut them off, and got absolutely screwed. Set them up and knew the jakes and hens were going to come over this ridge. So I set up the decoys and shimmied my way underneath a really big cedar tree. I was like, ready. And I was shooting a single pin. I switched to single pin last year. Single pin bow hunting for turkeys is not ideal. I learned that the hard way. I set up the decoys and the hens came over at the ridge, like 30. Here comes the jakes. I draw back, getting ready to draw back. And I wasn't drawn back at that point. Waiting. And I hear something out of the left of this huge cedar tree, and these 3 longbeards are strutting at 3 yards. They're looking me in the face. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now. I can't move because I'm going to ruin it. So I'm just sitting there watching them freaking out. All right, I'm just going to let them go to the decoys, and then I'll readjust and shoot them when hopefully all 3 of them turn away from me. Full panic. It was really awesome to see a tom strut that close. Also terrifying. They ended up running to the decoys, and I tried moving my pin and drawing back, and didn't work. Got caught in a cedar branch. It was an absolute mess. They ran off. Ended up catching them on the backside because they couldn't figure out how to cross this one fence. Shot and missed, actually into a log, which my friends in Nebraska, whose ground I was hunting on, actually ended up sawing off the log and giving it to me with my broadhead stuck in it. So it's next to my nightstand. It was a crazy day. So I was absolutely bummed, but super stoked because it's been the best day of turkey hunting ever. Ended up going to a different property, finding another bird, playing the runaround game, calling them. They don't want to come yet because they're still grouped up because it's early up there. Run around, get in front of them, think they're going to go here, think they're going to go there. This bird totally caught us off guard, got stuck in a swamp, wouldn't come in, ran literally a quarter mile down the road with my bow. It was like 95 degrees, sweating on the edge of this gravel of this property to be able to cut this bird off. He didn't go nowhere, so we snuck back up on him on the wrong side. Was gonna break the timber at like 20, ended up breaking it at like 30 yards, and wasn't set, shot a foot below him, which grateful all of my shots were clean misses, but I was really ready to throw my bow in the middle of the road and give up. Set out that evening and actually had one come in after we watched a Jake circle us for like 25 minutes, just in circles. Had a Tom come in and ended up dropping him at 20 yards. It was a crazy day. Bow hunting turkeys is a challenge, but I want to do it again. It was a lot of fun.
That's pretty unexpected to hear you say you weren't in a ground blind hunting these turkeys. That's even harder.
Run and gun. It was wild, to say the least. But it was a lot of fun, and the turkeys wanted to play. And honestly, it spoiled me because then I went to Mississippi and Alabama, where the turkeys there don't talk. And you kind of just got to find them through big timber of national forests and hope you come across them. And got close a few times, but I didn't hear it peep or see a fan until I came back to Missouri. April 21st when season opens here.
They're not still Easterns in Nebraska, are they?
They are, but I think I was far enough up. He's a hybrid, the one that I ended up getting. He's got a really nice like caramel in between an Eastern and a Rio, but he's definitely not a full.
I always thought Easterns were pretty dumb, and they probably are. But the guy I interviewed a couple weeks ago, he says they're the hardest to hunt, and he's from Alabama. And he said it's probably because of pressure. So I'm guessing that's what you were seeing too. The Easterns are just way harder to hunt further south you go.
We talked to a lot of people when we were down in Mississippi and Alabama, and we talked to some people that have been turkey hunting for 8 years and never killed a turkey. Listen, I love it, but I don't know if I love it that much. It means a lot to me, but when you get spoiled in Missouri or Nebraska or Colorado or Kansas, where you can see them in the field and strut and gobble and talk back and want to play the game, is a little different than when you're walking through 8,000 acres of straight timber and you hear one half gobble in the morning and then they shut up and you're looking on the ground for scratching and tracking and chasing these birds on foot, sneaking through leaves, which is impossible.
I bet. So it's not extremely easy, but it's pretty close to shooting fish out of a barrel in Iowa. Is that kind of how it is where you're at in Missouri?
Missouri is pretty hit or miss. If you're on a place that there's no pressure, the birds want to play. But I only filled one tag here this year, and I think I went 10 or 12 times. It was a little rough this year, but it just depends. If the turkeys know what they're doing, or if they head up really fast, or the weather catches them. The easiest hunting I think I've been is the Merriams. The Merriams are pretty easy. Colorado, I got spoiled, and it was a super good hunt. They came right to us, and it was fun. I had 2 days to fish because turkey hunting only took one.
Was that a shotgun or a bow?
This was my first bow season.
I'd heard the Merriams are pretty dumb.
Yeah. They're definitely different than the Easterns, and they sound funky too.
Do they?
Yeah, they don't have the super deep gobble. I feel like an Eastern, when you gobble and they're close enough to you, you can feel it in your chest, so you can hear that drum and stuff. And I feel like all the Merriams that I've been around have this kind of like a Jake gobble, half Tom gobble, half if you raise it in your backyard gobble. They sound funky.
Really?
It's very different, yeah.
Are you going to try getting the Grand Slam at some point?
Yeah, I wanted to this year, but planning didn't come because this is technically my 20th year turkey hunting. So I wanted to do something big, something crazy. That's what I wanted to do. You can't wait until last minute to plan that type of stuff. That was error on my part. Eventually I will, but honestly just traveling to new states. Mississippi, Alabama was a super cool time. I'm definitely going to keep going back to Nebraska. I met some really good friends up there and got permission on their ground, and that's a good time. I definitely just, wherever the wind takes me, as much as I can go, when the opportunities are yes and I can make it work, I'm going to try and go.
Might as well.
Yeah.
I've heard was it the Osceola down in Florida is extremely tough to kill.
Yeah, and I feel like it's hard to find your way into hunt Florida if you don't know somebody or you don't pay for it, and it's expensive to pay for it. But I was looking up and doing a lot of research too, and the Osceolas are really aggressive too, I guess. I don't know.
I can't remember what I read about them, if they just weren't reactive to calls or what the deal was. Then there's one that's just in a little pocket down in Arizona, maybe.
The Rios, I think, are Texas and stuff, and then the peacock pretty ones, I believe, are only in Hawaii. I might be wrong.
I'm the type of person that can't stand not knowing something, but I might look it up here. So I'd like to hear, you kind of did some last minute planning. What kind of goes into doing these out-of-state hunts? Are these people that you know already?
I kind of just wing it. Nebraska's a good example. I feel like my network is kind of big enough. When I first got my Kansas draw 2 years ago, I kind of didn't really totally have a place set. and I just like, hey, do you know somebody that has this unit? Or hey, do you know good public grounds? I've kind of gotten to where I just put in my applications and my draws and buy my stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out because it's all 6 months, 4 months before you're actually doing season. Nebraska, I totally bought by myself. Never been to Nebraska, not a day in my life. I was like, why not? Their turkey season literally opens the 1st and it goes until May 31st. If something doesn't work out, I can always go back. It's a 6, 7 hour drive. Not a huge deal. I went out there. I actually have a outlanding tent on top of my Bronco. So I totally just packed up one weekend. I think their bow season opened Tuesday, and I was going to go that weekend, but I flip-flopped my work schedule, so I went out there Wednesday night, marked a bunch of stuff on Onyx. Oh, let's just try this. Got to a public ground, walked around, called a little bit, looked scratches on the ground, got my car, drove to another public spot, just kind of off and on, came to my car. I think I was there for like 2 days, and then I had a good buddy that guides out of Kansas call me, and he was like, hey, this guy is trying to call you on Snapchat, but like you haven't had it in the back. I don't go through that stuff. If I don't know you, I don't accept anything of that. It just makes everything easier. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. He's like, oh, he's my good buddy. You know, he's in Nebraska. They have ground they can help you because public hunting was not working out for me. It was like a classic story, you know, oh, they gobble and you chase them and then boom, they're on the private side. And adding him back and calling him, and they were only 4 hours north of me, and met up with them, and it was him and his buddy and his wife, and they're really good people, and kind of looked around the ground and ended up hunting their stuff. And now I talk to them, I think, every day, and you know, we share hunting stories. And they tried getting me to get a non-resident deer tag, and I really want to, but they're pretty pricey. Starting this business,
Are
we're
they?
not going to do it yet, but yeah, yes, they are.
I had buddies that would go out early September to western Nebraska and hunt the pivots for mule deer and velvet. I think they changed it so you can't buy tags over the counter, but they're killing 160s every year. They would just go spot and stock them in the sorghum fields, and they would just crush it.
Man, when I went up there to turkey hunt and they had some of those mounts and sheds on the walls of their shops, I don't know what in my right mind, maybe because I've only bird hunted out of state, but for some reason I thought everywhere north of, I kind of figured this section of the Midwest was about where it was obviously good. I just didn't expect Nebraska to have giant deer, and I was in the very northern part of Nebraska. I was like, you guys have monsters out here. These deer are
Whitetail?
giant. Yeah, whitetail.
I used to have an ego and think Iowa was the best whitetail state. I think Kansas might have us beat.
Kansas has got some big deer. We occasionally have some big deer come across us just because we're out in the Ozarks and there's not a ton of pressure out here. Yeah, Kansas has got some big deer.
So you're pretty close to the Ozarks?
My parents are actually on the Lake of the Ozarks, but we're on the low end. So everyone thinks of the Ozarks, they think the big party yacht side. An hour and 20 minutes from here. So we're right where Truman and the Ozarks meet is where we're at.
Everybody from up here, they go down the Ozarks quite a bit. I've never been. It'd be kind of cool to have a speedboat down there.
Yeah, it's a good time. They do boat races and they always got all the fancy boats out and it's fun. But it's definitely nothing like that down here. We only got John boats and bass boats around here.
More your style, right?
Yeah, yes.
You don't like sitting on a boat all day doing nothing?
Yeah, I don't mind it, but I definitely tend to be an ADHD busy bee. There's always something we can do. And it's nice here because the water stays calm. On the big end, there's always these huge waves, and fishing really isn't a thing. I ate dinner before I got on here with you, and my dad was like, I think if you get done in a decent amount of time, we can hop on the boat and we can go fish tonight if you want. That's perfect. We only have an hour, but it's just going to be us on the water because it's a Wednesday night.
You're talking to the king of HDHD. You've probably seen me adjust my seating position. It's only 30 minutes in. I can't sit still. When you're doing this out-of-state stuff, are you staying in your vehicle?
Sometimes, yeah. It depends. It depends on who we go with or who I'm meeting there, if I'm going by myself or if people have a spare bedroom. I think I put the tent on the top of my Bronco in August of last year. Just this last year is really, this spring is the first time I've really been using it, but it's a game changer. It's nice to be able to just park, especially when you're hunting public. And you just go to the designated camping spots and camp right there, and then you have a 20-minute hike versus a 20-minute drive and a 20-minute hike into where you want to go.
When you're traveling, you're kind of going to locations where you know people then.
Sometimes, usually, Mississippi and Alabama. Mississippi, I didn't know anybody. That was just kind of a whim shoot. I went with my boyfriend and we went down there and he had some buddies that had spots on pins, but no one knew anything. And that was, I think, maybe the first time I've been to Mississippi. I had a good friend call for Alabama. We were supposed to hunt with him, but they ended up having to work during the week. So we ended up just hunting public and wing shotting it. And then North Carolina, I had my family's ground. It's hit or miss. I usually can find or people find out that I'm there, and I'll know somebody through somebody, and then it turns out that I do know them once I leave.
Posting on TikTok?
Yeah, Snapchat, everywhere.
Really?
Posting everywhere. Yeah, Snapchat and Instagram do the best. Yeah, it's weird. I'm definitely a nobody and a small man still, but it's locally, I think it's started to become a thing. I went to Rogers and I had a few people who knew who I was that I didn't know. It's very different.
Everybody's going to know who you are after this.
Shoot.
We're not that big yet, but once we grow, I'm going to recycle some of these episodes for the people that help me out when we're only getting 100 followers. We'll replay them once we get to several thousands. It's tough growing a podcast. I think we're doing something unique. I think people like it once they start learning about it, but it's nice hearing from just average people. You're basically an influencer. I say no influencers, but you're questionable.
I don't know. That's how my parents describe it. It's never really how I started it. I think I like my first vintage hunt. I hunted like 60 days early bow season just every day. I love it. And then it post a picture here, post a picture there, and then people kind of caught on, and then it started growing and started going to expos and stuff, connect with people, and slowly I think I've started becoming an influencer, if you want to call it that, but just sharing what I love to do.
Out of all the places you've traveled, you've kind of learned what you like. What's one place you would love to go to? What's number one on your wish list? Species, state, wherever?
I absolutely love bow hunting, and I think, I don't know if there's a place, but shooting an elk with my bow is a dream, and I'm nowhere close to that yet. Definitely very comfortable shooting whitetail, but I want to do it the right way and shoot a mule deer first and work my way up. But I think being that close to that amazing of a creature and being able to accomplish that with your bow is definitely a big goal of mine.
There's probably plenty of places to do it. That's number one on my wish list too. Some people go out there 10 years in a row and never get a shot with the bow. My goal is to just save up and just hire a guide in a high success area and just, instead of going out there 10 years in a row, just make one big hoorah out of it with the high success rate. But you're probably a better hunter than me. You'd probably have better luck going by yourself.
My deer luck has been, I broke the curse this year. I always shoot one or two doe every year just because that's what we eat. And big whitetails were really a struggle bus for me for a long time. I think when I was 14, I finally realized the switch of what big deer are because, you know, when we're 5, 6, my dad's like, oh, shoot it. That's what we eat. So we definitely were shooting. I think my first deer was like a little 3-pointer. But I finally made the switch and I started like doing these managed hunts and seeing these big whitetail. And then I started getting way in on myself, like pick the biggest one and track them on the cameras and get the wind and doing it right. And I actually had set up perfect day, had him in the spot, knew where he was going to come, public ground, even on a conservation draw. I had a guy walk out, blow him, literally right out, ran right past me. I was so freaking mad. Then went back to my family farm, started hunting there because my deer was gone there. And my dad shot it, which is fine. Still cool. It's hanging on the wall. Stud deer. This last year, my parents were out of town, so I was like, had the family farm to myself. Got out there early. Called him Pitchfork. He is a freaking stud. Had him at 80 yards 6 times daylight. Early bow season. I was like, what am I doing wrong? I kept playing the wind. Deer did not give a care in the world. It was amazing to see this. I think he's 165, 168, which is pretty big for around here, but he's super tall, massive, and yeah, right before rifle season, someone shot him, one of the neighbors. We did not know that because he just up and disappeared, but we ended up going out this winter and I found his remains. So that sucked. I broke the curse this year. Every deer I would find, big deer, I'd track and I'd find someone would either bust it or shoot it. It was an ongoing curse. But I got it done this year at the very, very end of season.
So somebody shot that deer and didn't find it?
Yes. Yeah, at first we thought just a coyote or something. Yeah. But we have a lot of youth hunters around us and it's, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but we found him. We thought at first just a like coyote got him because he was kind of up by the pond, but he was tucked in there. So we found him though. It's kind of nice that we got him back because pretty upset. I think I maybe shed a tear or two in the stand one of the days was he walked on to the neighbors and hear a gunshot. Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Your story sounds a lot like mine, where the first 5, 6 years of bow hunting seemed like I saw giant deer all the time. And then once I started trying, then my luck just went to heck, and I had a long dry spell.
It's like when you don't pay attention to what they are, it's like, oh, this is whatever. And then you're like, all right, I'm going for these big deer. And then they're like, I know where you're at, so I'm going to skirt you. Oh, if I just had a gun. But that's the joy of bow hunting, the challenge of getting things close. And
So you run a lot of cameras.
yeah,
What's your opinion on cameras?
I love them mostly because I hunt all over the state of Missouri. So it kind of, especially early season, I'll throw a couple out here, or I switch my dad to Tacticam, which is kind of a cheat code because now I can see his cameras because they're shared up. So I'll have him stick his cameras. You can actually public ground hunt the islands out here, and we've seen some big deer out there. So I usually throw a camera out there. If I get a managed hunt, I'll throw my cameras out there. If I get permission on a piece of ground, and I'll kind of use it at first in the beginning of the season to find what deer I'm picking out, even though I'm obviously not a super educated big buck killer by any means, but it makes it fun. I like to go as much as possible, so I usually wait until I pick the one I think I'm going to chase and maybe narrow it down to two places, and then I'll condense my cameras and really go in and try and figure out where they're going and play the wind and their patterns and stuff when they're patterned, and I'll pay attention to times and go and set up on a spot where my wind's not going to bust and not even bring my bow and just watch what the deer are doing. And I don't know, it's fun to get real like technical about it. And some people think that like when it's the state of hunting, I definitely enjoy just going and sitting still, but there's something satisfying about being able to see a deer here and oh, I know you're going here, so I'm gonna put a camera here and you're only gonna cross here on the northeast wind. It's fascinating. I like it.
Everybody loves looking at the pictures. It definitely takes some of the excitement out of it. Maybe that's probably not a bad thing, but you almost get too worked up.
There's definitely some times I probably would have shot deer if I didn't know there was bigger deer there, which is not helpful, but definitely when it comes August when I start putting them out until January when I take them down, that is the first thing and the last thing I check every day is my trail camera pictures. I love it.
Twice a day, that's it, huh?
Yeah, just twice a day.
That's pretty impressive. If I'm sitting still, I check it. That's the first thing I check. Social media.
Yeah, it's better than social media. I love looking through trail camera pictures.
What kind of cameras do you run?
All Tacticam. I switched to Tacticam a couple years ago and I love their cameras.
What were you before?
I honestly, I'm trying to think of the name of the brand. It was just what my uncle used, and it was the start of trying to switch to sell. I want to say it was like, oh, I don't know the name of the brand. They were not good quality. They worked fine, but it was trying to be sell, and it was kind of work and kind of wouldn't.
It wasn't Cuddyback, was it?
No,
I had Cuddybacks and they sucked.
yeah. I don't think my dad ran cameras. I don't think. We have a lease close to here, and I don't think we've ever ran cameras on it, and that's always a fun place to hunt because we usually go and check the cameras, and then we just show up and hunt one day when the farm, because we put a 60-acre food plot in up here. It does good late season because no one else has food plots around here, so we definitely attract some of the good herd towards the end of the year with the big old food plot. But when it gets slow here, we'll just take a drive, and we have a 300-acre lease down the road, and we'll hunt one day, me and my dad, and no one has any idea what's there. Sometimes there's monsters, sometimes we don't see nothing. And it is kind of fun to get that experience of not knowing what you're gonna go see.
You choose not to put cameras out, or is it kind of on the lease?
But we choose not to. I believe. I could be wrong. We have it, and my dad's been in on this. That's where I've shot almost all my deer and turkeys growing up. We've been on the lease forever, and it's just locked into this super good price. The farmer's a great guy. It's a good hunting group, so we just kind of keep it, and we put a lot of work and effort into the farm we have on our own because it's our own farm and it's 2 minutes down the road, not 45. I don't know. We just kind of spend most of our time here, but we'll spend a few times and go out there and kind of see what's out there. And sometimes there's some really nice deer out there. And usually we'll save it for like rifle season because we only have 40 acres here that my dad owns, and that's up to my papa's 60, but he cattle farms, so we usually don't mess with his side at all. And there's four of us, my whole family, and then occasionally we'll take some of my dad's friends or people, and that gets really tight trying to rifle hunt on 40 acres. So usually that's when we go to our lease and kind of just save it for rifle season.
If it's bigger, more deer, it sounds like, so it all works out.
Yeah.
I could see 4 people on 40 acres could get kind of tough.
Yeah, we have our stands kind of separated out where we can put everyone and we know everyone's good and situated because it's kind of on a big hillside, but it works out.
You shoot this direction and this direction. I'll shoot this direction, this direction.
So yeah, everyone check on each other.
What's the terrain like where you're at? Is it pretty flat? You got some hills?
We got some hills and it is rocky. It's definitely not super hilly. There's some small like elevations and stuff, but nothing crazy.
Rocky as in rattlesnake rocky?
We don't have rattlesnakes, but it's rocky. If you try and put anything in the ground, good luck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's terrible.
I thought you were talking bluffs.
Just red clay and rocks everywhere.
It's not like that up here. It's nice black dirt. Out of all the hunts you've been on over the years, are there a couple that really stick out being your favorite hunts?
Oh gosh, I love all of it. The first time I went to Colorado to turkey hunt was breathtaking. I've been to Colorado and I've been to some like hiking places and stuff, but just shotgun walking miles looking for footprints and the antelope are coming up to you. And that was a really cool kind of the moment where I was like, there's so much more to hunting than I've known my whole life. There's so much more out there and to do and to see. That was definitely a moment that I was like, I want to do more of this. This is a lot of fun. But gosh, I don't know, just every time hunting with my dad means a lot, and I try and take time out. We've never really deer hunted together. I got put out on my own pretty early. I think he made me take my hunter safety course the day I turned 14, and ever since then, I make the mile-long hike in the morning on my own in the dark, and that was the way it was because my brother was younger, and someone had to teach him, and got put on my own pretty early deer hunting, so that's kind of a sacred thing for me. This year was the first year I've deer hunted with people, probably since I was 13, and it was different. It was fun, but there's definitely some days still I like to be by myself out there. But turkey hunting, I always try and at least fit 2 or 3 in there with my dad, and that's something that's special to me.
There you go. Was he able to mentor you through the bow hunting?
Yeah, I think he bought my mom, my brother, and I all bows. My aunt and uncle got kind of into it at the same time, and it just became a thing. Like all summer long, that first summer, everyone would be grilling in the backyard, and everyone would bring their bows. And we'd put $1 on it. And they'd throw a beer can up on there. All right, you get the pot if you shoot a beer can. And that's kind of how I got into shooting clays too. You're in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing else to do. Slightly redneck family, and that's how we did things. Watched a lot of videos and, target practice and what to do. Been deer hunting kind of long enough, you knew what to do, but definitely a learning curve being that young, kind of being put on your own. Definitely had a few rough years starting into bow hunting. It took me a while to get my first one, and my first one was not a stud by any means. He was a little guy, but it's meat in the freezer.
How long did it take you to shoot one with a bow?
3 years.
I've tried to ask most people that have come on here. 1 or 2 people said 1 or 2 years. Everybody else is like 3, 4, 5.
It's hard. My mom hunts quite a bit. Me and my dad are primarily the ones that hunt a lot. She started bow hunting when we started bow hunting, gosh, 11 years ago. And this year it was her first year. That was super fun. We got the text in the stand. It was like, oh, I finally did it. We're like, yeah, me and my dad and my mom all got together and we were tracking it through the woods. And yeah, it was a cool moment to experience.
Good for her. She stuck it out that long, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. I probably would have given up.
Well, it's kind of hard to do when, when the whole house leaves, but it's like, I guess, and it's kind of fun too. I mean, on 40 acres, we have a little group chat. Everyone goes on their end and then, oh, I see a deer here. Oh, this 3-pointer is going to come your way. And it's fun. Family bonding.
You must be pretty close with your family then.
Yes. Yes, I am very close to my family.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with that, but that's kind of cool to hear.
It's a very good blessing, for sure.
Yeah, sounds like it. So you went up to Canada for goose hunting. How was that?
It was fun. It was a last minute thing. So I only got to hunt for a day and then scout for a day because I actually went on Canadian Thanksgiving. And apparently it is a thing in Canada on Canadian Thanksgiving that they let all the local farmers hunt. The people from not Canada really can't find a spot to hunt. It's kind of a cool tradition that everyone from Canada hunts on Thanksgiving, but it kind of screwed me. That was on 3 days I was there. I got there kind of late, got to see the aurora lights, went and helped brush in a blind, shot a bunch of lessers. That morning, went and hung out, went to go scout that evening, and then couldn't find nowhere to hunt the next day. It was Canadian Thanksgiving. So that was kind of wild, but it was beautiful, and I love shooting geese a lot. It's my first year really getting into duck hunting. Duck hunting's pretty cool. I like it. It's fun. I have a really good group of people down in southern Missouri that is a lot of fun to duck hunt with, and they got some pretty good refuges and stuff, and they know a lot about the conservation of ducks. But Goose hunting has my heart. I love goose hunting.
Do you have all the gear for goose hunting, or you just go with people that own it? I know I would like it, but I'm afraid to get into it and fall in love with it and have to buy all that crap.
Don't have decoys because I know I would become a problem. I already, even this last year, because goose hunting in Missouri kind of sucked a lot. We were down here on the lake, and the lake is public, and obviously the geese love the lake, so it's hard to pull them off on our property, but you can hunt them on the lake. It's just really hard because you have to find the roost spot, and they're not going to pay any attention. It's like snow goose hunting, basically, but on the lake for Canadian geese. I kept trying to talk my dad. I was like, come on, let's just go. Let's just try it. I'll buy as many decoys as you want. And it's probably a good thing that he said no because my wallet and the amount of space I need does not need a bunch of goose decoys. So now I usually go with people that have decoys.
The people that are into it have a big enclosed trailer full of decoys.
Yeah. One day I might. I would like to because I would probably hunt a lot more than trying to. And I think it's like last year, I kind of got to a point where I was ready to break down and buy a duck boat that I could take wherever and goose decoys. And if I just buy silhouettes, then I can fit them here. Or I can buy a trailer and do this because I didn't have my niche of hunting people yet. And my dad kind of parted because we live in the lake now. So like all of his city friends that we used to goose hunt when I was 14 and 15 with are all up in the city, and they've kind of filled our spots because we don't go as much anymore. Then it's like hard to find your spot in with the group again. And then you get stuck and you're like, oh yeah, you can come. And it's like last minute, like, oh, okay, they said they're gonna be in again. So you get stuck and you're like, I really want to go. This is really what I want to do, but like I don't have a spot. I don't have people. I would door knock. Like I've tried everything, and then my really good friends, her and her man, have a really nice refuge and stuff. So I tend to hunt with them most of the time anymore.
I've never in my life gone goose or duck hunting. I need to.
It is so much fun. My dad, I think I went when I was 15, I think. My dad just brought, it's kind of a funny story, a Remington Versamax semi-automatic shotgun. And it was like his favorite gun. He spent grand on it. This was his baby. Well, we went out to his buddy's house that was a goose guide or whatever. He was like, I want to go. And he's like, well, you can't. You're too little. You can't hold the gun up. And I was like, oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. So we would sit out there in the back field, and I could only handle his brand new gun that he just bought because I was so tiny that I couldn't handle a pump shotgun. So I was up there and they'd throw clays. I was like, okay, I'm getting it figured out. I got this. I can handle this gun. Now picking it up, it's freaking so heavy. But I got it down and then I started goose hunting all the time. And my dad never got to shoot that gun. I think in 23, I started goose hunting without him. And he was like, oh, you can't take my gun. You're hunting without me. You need to buy your own gun. So I ended up buying a Benelli, but it was a whole ordeal. He bought this gun back in 2014 and never got to shoot it because that was the only thing that I could handle at that time. And, I wanted to go everywhere with dad. So he bought this brand new gun that I got to use for 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
Well,
I think so.
probably worn out by the time you got it back to him.
Yeah. Well, he bought a Franke, I think 3 years ago. We went out shooting ski. I think it was maybe last year or so. We do a lot of for fun. Everyone will line up and we'll make betting games and shoot ski. And it's a good time. And he was like, I haven't even shot that gun. And I bought it brand new back then. I was like, sorry, but I haven't shot it for a while since then. I picked it up the other day. We were out going to shoot, and I was like, this thing is freaking heavy. My little Benelli does not weigh that much. I don't know how I was picking that thing up when I was a kid.
What do you have for a Benelli?
I have an SB3.
Super Black Eagle, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Those sound like pretty nice guns.
Yes. It's just so small. It fits me better, I guess. The grip and everything is small. It's super light. I love it.
That all-around gun or just goose hunting?
It's my everything gun at the moment. I take it all over the place. Use it turkey, goose, dove, skeet, whatever.
Have you ever been pheasant hunting?
So I went for the first time. I guess it wasn't pheasant hunting. That's a lie. I have not been pheasant hunting. I went quail hunting for the first time, which was kind of the closest thing I've ever been to upland hunting. I want to do it. We didn't see any. It was literally the day of the blizzard, and I almost got stuck in Kansas. My hair was frozen. It was a terrible day, but whatever. I would love to, but I have never gone.
I think you could buy an out-of-state tag for a weekend up here, so I'm not having to look, but we have a lot of pheasants here. A lot.
They're pretty.
I have one mounted, probably 24-inch tail. It's pretty. I'm glad I got it mounted because my dog ended up passing the next year. Well, every dog I get in the future is going to have a bird mounted from the time period.
That's cool.
It's a lot different than goose hunting because you'll be walking and you'll just kind of get in a zone and all of a sudden, boom, they're getting up from your feet and you got to move pretty fast.
It sounds like love. I've done it virtual. There's a up on the Kansas side, like it's not like virtual reality, but kind of like where they got the screen and they got the little guns like 54th Street. I've pheasant hunted that way before, but that's about it.
Oh, it's like a video game?
Yeah, it was at the 54th Street. It was kind of wild, but yeah, you can pheasant hunt. It gives the giant screen a little room.
How many did you hit?
Oh, shoot, I don't remember. It's been a couple years. And the video games are not my strong suit, so probably not that many.
It's pretty tough. I don't know. I've never been goose hunting, but I imagine you can kind of see them coming in from a long ways. By the time you see them to shoot, I mean, you got 2 seconds. Otherwise, they're gone.
I think I would. Yeah, I would like it. I've done a lot of trap shooting and clay pigeon shooting. The company I worked for, 2 companies before this, actually did tournaments. I did a lot of those. I got some little baby clay pigeon trophies, and then my family does it for funsies all the time. My papa reloads for us, so it's not super expensive for us to go out there and shoot clay pigeons, and it's a good pastime when it's too hot to stay ashore. You know, there's nothing to do. We tend to shoot skeet quite a bit. It's a lot of fun.
So skeet as in just the clays that go out, or are you talking the ones that go sideways?
The tournaments and stuff that we did, we had them where they would be like up on these tower things and they would throw across, and then there'd be one that would like bounce across the ground sideways. When we do all of it here, it's just like we have a clay pigeon thrower on a wobbler. Kind of goes different directions, but it's all in the air.
Yeah, that's how I'm used to, but the ones that fling it sideways, that'd be a little bit tougher.
They're tricky, that's for sure.
Cool. I was going to ask you something else, but I forgot. So, where to next year? You got your out-of-state hunts planned?
I know I'm gonna go back to Nebraska. Nebraska over the counter sells out super fast. I only bought one this year because I had no idea where I was gonna go or who I was gonna go with or if I can even pull off shooting one. This year I'll probably buy two. I'm gonna try and this year push my dad to go out a little bit more with me. I think he's kind of against going out of state still, but I think I'm starting to change his mind. Nebraska for sure. I'll put in for my Kansas draw because Kansas is close and figure it out when I get there. And then yeah, I don't know. Let the wind take me wherever. I have no plans really for this fall either. I tend to work pretty last minute on a lot of things, which I don't know if is a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, I really have nothing on my planned schedule. We talked about going in an elk hunt in July, but I think that fell through. And I have a offshore fishing tournament in October in the Outer Banks, and I've never saltwater fished. I have no idea what I'm doing. My cousin invited me. She goes every year, so I'm going to learn something new this October, and then whitetail in Missouri, and if I stumble across $1,000 and can afford going to Nebraska, I might whitetail hunt in Nebraska. Otherwise, got no plans this year or next year. I'm winging it by the hip.
So you have to draw for a Kansas tag for turkey? What are the chances? Good? Bad?
Well, the first year I put in, I got it. I've only been putting in for 2 years. I got it first year. I didn't get it last year. I don't know what the odds are, but Kansas has changed a lot of rules. I believe this year is the first year the waterfowl went into effect, and you can only, I could be wrong, don't quote me on this. I know they changed the dates of out-of-state waterfowl hunting in Kansas, and I think it's like public, you can only do it on Friday or Saturday, and you have to check in or something. I don't know. They changed a bunch of rules and regulations in Kansas. Basically, everything is over the counter unless you're with an outfitter, or not over the counter, draw.
That's weird. Do you know in Pennsylvania you can't hunt on Sundays?
I learned a lot hunting in the South. My family's ground in North Carolina is close enough to a church. You can't hunt from 9 till noon, I believe. You couldn't shoot a shotgun because we were close enough to a church that you could hear it.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I could see the gentleman's rule, but how do they enforce that?
It's wild though, and it makes you wonder. Definitely this year going to a bunch of states, you just gotta look. You gotta look stuff up and keep researching, and you get on conservation and you get down at night and you're like scrolling through pages and pages and pages, and you're like, okay, make sure I have this and make sure I have that. Conservation pulls up and you're like, I know I'm good. But when you get, a cop pulls behind you and you're like, I know this is not gonna be good.
You get pulled over a lot?
No, I do drive a lot, but no, knock on wood, I do not.
It's probably not one of those situations where it's better to, what's that go? Not ask for permission or ask for forgiveness. Probably not a good idea with conservation.
No, and I get checked by them a lot. It seems like I have a pretty good reputation. Fishing licenses, I probably get checked 4 or 5 times a year just because I think Ozarks is big. Hunting on none of my family ground, I obviously don't, but we dove hunt on public ground. I always get checked, especially early season dove. You basically have to walk through a line of conservation and they will check every single person and every single gun. Gosh, I got checked in Alabama. I don't think I got checked in North Carolina. Seems like I get checked quite a bit by conservation. So I always try and make sure you're good.
So around here, dove hunting, there's a big weekend, and most people go public. Is that kind of where it is, where you hunt food plots, and there's 100 people out there, and you're getting showered with
Yeah.
BBs?
Yep. You go out there a week before and everyone's scouting the fields, looking for the right spot, and then you gotta be the first person in line so you don't lose your spot. And usually you do if you're not there. I think the first year I hunted public dove, and then we got there at 1 in the morning and slept in our chairs. And then drove back in and checked in and got our little passes. All right, we're good. It gets crazy. There's definitely even my first teal hunt on public, I slept on the marsh. I straight up went out there, set our stuff up at 11 p.m., slept on the marsh. I had mosquito bites. I looked like I had disease. Every 5 spots on my face was just mosquito bites. Actually drove to Minnesota that next morning, which it fogged out and it was a terrible teal hunt in the long run. But it was still a good time. It was an interesting experience. But I showed up in Minnesota to goose hunt and we were hunting. I think our guides were 21 and I was 23, and everyone I was with was older than me by a couple years. So it was kind of a whole weird experience, but I looked rough showing up to that. I have pictures of that hunt and I look like a little boy with a disease on my face.
Chicken pox.
Yeah, it was rough, but I've definitely done some wild things to hunt. I'm not afraid of the cold, not afraid of the long nights. I love it.
How big was this piece you're dove hunting, and how many people?
Oh gosh. I think most of them were only, 20, 30 acre plots. I feel like, and they usually space them out. James Day in Missouri, we go to quite a bit. I used to. And they've got 12 fields. Most of the conservation places in Missouri kind of drive all over from north to south to mid, and they've got tons of fields everywhere. We've private hunted them quite a bit. My grandparents actually, for some reason, I think because their cattle feed is just the right spot, they get a bunch of doves. I'll go up there and hunt their place quite a bit for doves also.
How many people do you think are around a field when you're hunting doves on public?
Gosh, most of the time I feel like everyone is spaced out 3 foot like it's COVID and all the way around every corner, every inch of it. And you have your angles and you don't shoot low, or usually they make the fields big enough that you're not going to actually hurt somebody, but you're definitely getting peppered the whole time. It's a wild experience.
Seems kind of dangerous.
The first time I went, I was terrified. I was with some friends and, I had only been dove hunting with my dad before, and it was like buckets on a buddy's place, and we'd have 10 or 15 come in or whatever. It was kind of just hit or miss. And then I went opening day with a group of buddies on public, and I was like, this is not safe. This is scary. What the frick is going on here? People do this. And here I am. Usually, if I'm in town and I don't have a good private spot, I go to public and just fight
Must
them.
be a tradition.
Yeah. Good meat. Tastes good.
I know what I was going to ask you. Well, before that, if you haven't had pheasant is phenomenal. Way better than wild turkey. But I was going to ask you, you have a thermal, don't you?
Yes.
When did you get into that?
So when I graduated college, I worked 2 jobs to pay for college by myself and actually graduated debt free. The first one, my mom went to college and had a student loan and stuff, and my dad was union at the time and super don't go to college, to waste your time, yada yada. They're not paying for it, which is totally fine. I graduated debt free and everything, and that's what my dad, I think he kind of wanted it for himself, but it was my graduation gift. It's a super, super nice thermal scope. And yeah, I don't even know if I really paid much attention. I knew they were a thing, but I never dreamed of having one. It's definitely a blessing now because when it comes late February when deer season's closed and I'm not really big into snow goose hunting, I'll go a few times. I haven't really found a total love for that, but it's enjoy going out in the evenings, and the thermal is super cool.
So you've been doing it for a couple of years. Do you feel like the pressure and coyotes are getting more educated year by year? Because I did it for 3 or 4 years, and from when I started to when I stopped going, it got way harder.
It's only been, 2, 3 years ago that I kind of dabbled in it. Me and my dad went out the first night, and neither one of us had zero clue what the heck we were doing. We just wing shot it. We bought a call. We had the cool fancy scope. We sighted it in. We just went out there one night, and it was instant. Dogs everywhere. It was absolute chaos. It was freaky, crazy, amazing hunt. Every time I go out there ever since, might get one. I don't know a lot about coyote hunting. I'm definitely still learning. Our thermal season in Missouri, I believe, is January 31st till March 1st. It's a super small window, and I'll deer hunt until January 15th when season closes here if I haven't got what I wanted, and I'll dabble in snow goose hunting. So more or less, I thermal hunt. I'll pick a weekend where like me and Dad will go out all day long, sit in the woods just to be together. I think we went this year and it was -7, and we seen literally nothing. But we like spent like 14 hours in the woods together. It was fun.
Yeah, I think they're just getting cheap enough where everybody can buy them now. So every Tom, Dick, and Harry is out at night calling coyotes, so they're getting educated.
I can agree there. I even know a lot of people that are like, hey, you want to go? Like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's super cool. It is a very cool thing. The lines to it, I definitely have sat down and watched several YouTube videos of people that are like, this is what they do. It'd be something really cool to be down in, but I think it's just a for fun thing. We like take it to our land here, and that's kind of it. Help population manage. That's really all we do. We don't go super hard into it.
Yeah, I never did either. Coyotes are so smart. You don't feel like they are, but around here it's super flat. If there wasn't trees, you could see a town 5 mile away, and you'll see coyotes running directly at you, and they'll just disappear. And you're like, what the hell? But they'll find the smallest little draw in this wide open bean field, and it might only be a foot lower than the rest of the field, and they'll just disappear. And the next thing you know, they're 50 yards away.
That's crazy. That's great. I have
Yep.
always wanted to take the thermal hog hunting. I think that is definitely on a bucket list for me and Dad. I think that's a little bit different than cow hunting.
I've never been, but there's episode, not this Monday, but the one after with the guy from Florida. So I went down there, God, 10 years ago already. But they had dogs, and the dogs would just hunt them like coons, and they would just grab them by the neck, and you'd kind of know when they had the hogs treed, and you'd go up and wrestle them by the back leg and take them down with a knife.
That's crazy.
Best hunt I've ever been on, bar none.
It sounds like an adrenaline rush, that's for sure.
You just gotta let the nerves go to the side and just start whacking that knife.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I had 12-inch blade thinking, this is what I need to kill a hog, and they're out there with these little knives. I'm just hammering this knife. But highly recommend that one. A helicopter would be pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's how my dad. It's like, oh, if you ever get a chance, to get on a helicopter, you better call me. I know. He might bury me out back if I do that one without him, if I ever get that opportunity.
He's wanting you to use your influencer status to get on a helicopter and bring him with.
Like, if you ever know anybody, you let me know. Yes, sir.
I think they just opened that up for odd dads.
That's wild.
I'm pretty sure I just read that today. So coyotes, hogs, and odd dads.
I don't know if that's something I would want to shoot.
If they're a nuisance,
No, that's true.
it'd be pretty fun. I don't care what I'm shooting. It'd be pretty fun.
Be an experience. That's the blow darting iguanas. I think that would be cool too.
The what?
Have you not seen that? They do that in like Florida. They have these companies that it's like pontoons. Basically, they have a dog and they'll take you out and you blow dart. I've seen a blow dart. I'm sure there's other ways. But you shoot these iguanas and the dog will go and fetch them.
Really?
Yeah, because iguanas are a nuisance also. They're an invasive species. So like blow darting and getting iguanas is totally a thing people hunt now.
That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it would be very cool. And I heard it tastes pretty good too.
I don't know if I'm the type of person that just throw an iguana on the grill and try it, but maybe they're good.
You gotta try everything first. You never know until you try it.
Have you ever done the bow fishing?
Yes.
Is that pretty fun?
Yeah, I have a bow fishing bow. I totally bought on a whim one day in Bass Pro. Like, it was there. I was like, oh, whatever. We live at the lake. Sure. Threw it in the cart. It was a learning curve also because none of us knew what the hell we were doing. We have a creek up the road. I'll probably try and go visit this week or next week, kind of see. It's a lot of fun. It's very different, especially when you shoot an archery bow all the time. You gotta get used to it because it's not as, I don't want to say it's as serious because it is because it's kind of hard. You're aiming through water, so you gotta aim really low, but you're using your fingers and basically no sight. Definitely a lot more challenging, I feel like. And when you're shooting an archery bow, you got your pinpoints and your posture and how you hold the bow, how you release the bow. It's different. It's challenging, but it's a lot of fun.
I'd like to try that. And you do have to aim under them. Is that what you said?
Yeah, super low. Super low. Water refraction is higher. Yeah, I definitely missed a walleye a lot before I finally got my first one.
Yeah, I have this big, long bucket list of things I want to hunt, and I'm not getting very far like you are.
Yeah. It's you start getting on the internet and seeing people hunt and do this stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know it was a thing. That's super cool. And you're like, all right, now I want to do this and I want to do that. And I definitely think my bow is my go-to. It'd be super cool to shoot an antelope and stuff like that, but I think I want to do it with my bow.
What do you use it for a bow?
Bow tech. I shoot a Bowtech. I love
Those are fighting words around here.
it. I love my Bowtech.
Never tried one, but people who have them love them.
Yeah, it's a good bow. It shoots really good. It shoots super fast, quiet. It's small. It's light. I love it.
You said you switched to a single pin. Which sight you go with?
Oh gosh. You're gonna say that, and I'm gonna blank on what it is. I believe it is it the QAD, the sights. I think that's
It's not was it expensive?
yes,
Okay, I think it's Ultra View, maybe?
maybe.
Is it the one where you can just switch out the scope housing from a 3 to a 1 and not have to really change much?
No, it wasn't that expensive. Gosh, I'm trying to look it up here because I should know what the heck it is, but I don't. Oh, it's an HHA single
Okay.
pin. I like it, but I want to switch to. I'm not gonna know the technical terms here. It's a single pin, but it has the two standing pins also, so you can kind of use it as both.
One with 2 dots or one that's got both?
One with two dots.
They just call it a vertical pin. I think the
I
only
don't know. I'm bad with the technical terms.
you're doing pretty well. The only bad thing is you can't set it for like 30, 40. And maybe I'm just stuck in my head of old school, but the one I use is Ultra View, so comes with a 3 pin and you sight it in for 30. And then the middle pin doesn't move. It's always locked in place. Then you can do your 20 and 40, set up your sight tape, but you can just remove the housing and put a single pin on, and it's always going to be in a fixed position where that one middle one on the 3 is, so you technically won't have to sight in again. But it is like $600.
Yeah, that's pricey too. Everything gets expensive when you start adding up all the new hunting stuff. I've always the Garmin freaking bow sights. Man, I've heard mixed things about them, but that would be such a game changer. I always get in there, and as soon as I can see light, I'm ranging everything. All right, I'm gonna settle. This one's 30 and this one's 40, and I'm kind of good at guessing my ranges, and that would be a game changer.
You had one or you want to get one?
I want one, but they're like a grand.
Yeah, that'd be fun to try, but
Yeah, I know a few people with them, and they love them.
really?
Yeah. I mean, you gotta think about how many instances that you have a deer step out that you're not sure you're there, then you're like trying to guess. You think it's that, and you're like pretty close, but you could be a little bit more accurate. You know, you shot a little higher, a little back because it was 18, not 12, or 15.
That's why you gotta shoot 95 pounds like Josh Bomar.
Yeah, no way in heck. I just got to 50 2 years ago, and I'm proud of myself. I don't know if I could still go over 50.
See, I'm old and I don't shoot bow that much. It definitely messes with your shoulders. I don't care what anybody says.
It's a workout. You shoot every day for a while, and your arms will be jacked.
Well, you're pulling back and twisting. If you're trained for it, have good form, probably not. Do you use the old style release or thumb release?
I have not switched to a thumb release yet, so I'm still in the old style. I haven't gave my ways with that yet.
So I bought one just to try it, and I hated it. Got this thing sitting around $100. Might as well just get used to it. I'd never in a million years go back.
Yeah, I want to make the switch. I haven't grown the balls to do it yet.
You'll miss the target a few times when you first start, but just not having something dangling on your wrist the whole time when you're bow hunting, when you're wearing thick gloves, it's always in the way. It's way more comfortable and way more consistent, in my opinion.
I'll have to try it to finally give in and make the switch.
Do it. Somebody's got to have one for you to try.
Yeah, I'm sure somewhere.
So before we wrap this up, you know what time it is, right? You got your good stories.
Yes, it was really hard for me to pick one because I feel like I could name 900. I feel like there's always something crazy that happens every time I go out hunting, especially when someone comes with me. The crazy wild stuff never happens when I'm by myself. Embarrassing. Oh man. I think the most recent story, I think 2 years ago. Yeah, it had to have been. No, it was last year because I was coming back from Kansas. I had a good buddy of mine that's been turkey hunting for a while. He was like, oh, posted something or whatever. And it was like, oh, I've been turkey hunting. I think at that point it was like 19 years. He was like, oh yeah, how many times have you missed? And I was like, missed? None? What are you talking about? Yeah. I was like, no way. He's like, oh, you're due. Every real turkey hunter has missed. It's coming. Don't you wait. I'm like, oh, whatever, dude. Like, I know how to shoot my shotgun. I'm super confident with my shotgun. Like, no way. I had just shot my Kansas bird and was driving back into Missouri to get my second Missouri tag. Oh man, it got me good. Was pulling into one of these properties that I have permission on. One of my buddies, and this Tom was just beautiful, strutting on the edge. Go out to the back, sneaking over this hill, and he was way closer than we thought he was. basically in our laps. Like full panic, as fast as possible, not expecting the bird to be that close, and then they're like literally on top of you. Didn't have my head all the way down on my gun. The bird, the tom, just stood there. The week before, I was hunting out here, and we have a little side by side. We take the gravel roads back and forth to the farm. So the Benelli was chalked up pretty heavy. Stood up to shoot it again 'cause it didn't run away for whatever reason. The first time I missed, gun jammed. So I'm chasing this live turkey with a jammed gun, trying to unclean it. Person I was with was like, "What the heck are you doing?" It's like, I guess flight or fight. I was just gonna chase this live turkey, and I don't know what the heck I was gonna do with it. Never too good not to miss. Lesson learned. I got my turkey missing.
Well, the real question is, did the guy that tell you that hear the story?
Yes, yes, and I called him. I was like, "You got me. You jinxed me." Actually, I would have been totally fine, but we ended up going out the next day, and I made my redemption, so it worked out.
Damn, Benelli riding around the side by side. The barrel nut was loose. Not my fault.
Yeah. It's just a little messed up, It happens. It happens. Yeah. There's so many good embarrassing stories.
That's not that embarrassing. Everybody misses.
Gosh, hunting, my dad is a total dweeb sometimes, especially when it's just us together. Being younger, gosh, there's so many I could think of. I was so small when I first started going out with my dad. It was always us, and I had to lift all the gates because I couldn't reach the pedals, so I could not be the driver. And I was so small enough, I'd pick him up like this wobble. Got in this tendency of locking myself on the wrong side of the gate. Super embarrassing. Yeah, I grew out of it once I got tall enough to, not have to waddle to carry the gates. I remember one of the times we were in there, my dad rolled down the passenger window. Remember what side of the gate you're on. And as soon as I got in the truck, his window was still up. He went to spit loogie and spit straight on his window that was rolled up. Oh my gosh, it was the funniest thing. It was like, oh, you just pay back on yourself. That's karma right there.
It's more likely to happen to me the older
Yeah.
I get.
You're just not quite paying attention to everything you're doing. But there's been a lot of, I think there was one time that we were hunting the lease and me and my dad were by ourselves and we hadn't seen nothing all day and we met together on one of the gravel roads going up to the farmhouse and there was some deer up on the edge of the field and we're bow hunting so there's nothing we could do. Well, my dad was like, "Oh, we could sneak up on them, like it's like starting like the sun's set, we haven't seen nothing all day, we're trying to fill doe tags and get meat in the freezer." So he goes first. I don't know how old I was at this time. I might have been 17. Obviously, like, smaller than my dad, but he's bent over and he's got his backpack, and I got my bow in between us, and he's like counting off the steps. It's like left foot, right foot, like a cow. We're all like bent over, crawling. We made it pretty close to him, but not close enough for bow range. But
You guys
spot and stock.
were together trying to look like a cow.
Yes, it kind of worked.
The podcast that launched Monday, I think they did the same thing out in Alaska with caribou.
It's amazing. If it's just dark enough and they can't really see a figure, if you get kind of close to something they're familiar with, it doesn't really bother them. But it was amusing. I remember, what the heck are we doing? This is the most foolish stuff. Because he's had me do a lot of interesting, foolish stuff just for his own humor. I didn't realize till afterwards. I'm like, jerk.
Like, go in and ask for blinker fluid, that kind of stuff.
No, not even that simple. I think I was 12, maybe. I might have been younger than that. I might have been 11. We were turkey hunting. And it's like 7 a.m. kind of like far shot. I got one pellet in the bird, so the time was just running in circles. And I was like, well, what the heck do I do? And I was like, can I shoot it again? He was like, no. I was like, what?
Go tackle
No.
it.
Yeah, he's like, go chase it. And I was like, that's silly. He's like, no, I'm serious. Like, you better go out there and get it. I'm like, this bird is running in circles. So I'm out there running in circles for like 15 minutes. He's just watching. Finally, he's like, all right, you can shoot it. I'm like, seriously, man? You just want me to go do that for fun? You know I'm not going to catch that bird. Trying to juke out the bird.
I don't know why Little Rascals popped into my head when you told me that story. Do they chase something, Little Rascals? That's instantly what I thought of.
It was an adventure. That's for sure.
Too bad cameras weren't a big thing back then. They are now, where you get all this stuff on camera.
Yeah, I think we were trying to find them the other day. We have all of my first hunts on VHS, and we've been trying to find a company that isn't, I don't know, someone we trust versus just sending a VHS in to get some of that stuff back. Because I think it'd be cool to see some of my very first hunts on film.
If you do that and you get digital copies, there's these AI companies. I played around with it. I couldn't figure it out where you could enhance the resolution of videos. through AI, because I tried doing it for these clips because you can't control video quality of our guest, and it worked. The images is pretty impressive how much you can improve resolution on images, but I couldn't figure out the video. There's always people you could hire overseas to do it once you get the digital copy, $20. But it's definitely fun visiting with you.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
I'm gonna have to probably bump you up a little bit because I think there's 5 people recorded ahead of you, but I kind of want to break it up and get a woman hunter
Put me in there.
launched. That way people don't think I'm sexist for only having dudes on, but girls can hunt good too.
The internet's always gonna have opinions. You just gotta learn to not let it bother you. And it's definitely hard on some days. I have my days where I'm like, man, and I'm like, why? Just make myself go sit out there by myself, not even like have any intentions of picking up my bow or my gun. Just like, this is why you're here. Remember why you're here. Remember why you do this. You don't have to be the best, and it's not a competition. You're doing it because you love it, and it's a good reminder to make yourself think of every once in a while, especially when you're posting a lot on the internet.
Social media is it's kind of like a torture trap.
Yep, and there's always a lot of eyes, but just gotta take it for what it is. You know who you are, and do your own thing, and let the rest be history.
100%. Preach it. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed visiting with you. I'm sure we'll probably be good friends now. So this is kind of the plan, build a community, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it again.
You bet. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of A Hunter's Legacy. Remember, hunting isn't just about the harvest. It's about the journey and the legacy we all leave behind. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with all the other hunters in your life. And if you have a story to tell, we'd love to hear it, because every hunter has a legacy worth sharing.